Hello and welcome to Courageous Conversations.
We're here to talk honestly about race, faith, and what it really means to love our neighbor at all costs.
Each and every episode, we are going to sit down with friends and leaders from across Kansas City to share stories. We're going to ask hard questions and we'll laugh a little bit along the way.
To unite people, unite neighborhoods, and eventually unite KC. Let's jump into today's conversation.
Well, hello, everybody, and good morning. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. We are so happy to have you here on another episode of Courageous Conversations. My name is Jarrett, and I am here with my co-host, Kendall.
So I'm excited to welcome our guest today, Taylor Penrod. Taylor, welcome.
Thank you.
So glad that you're here.
Yeah.
And to our listeners, let me just say that Taylor is a hero of mine. Mm-hmm. One of the things that's been really important to me in ministry in Kansas City has been to encourage people to adopt their neighborhoods and then to make an investment in those neighborhoods. And your investment in Argentine is wonderful. And I want you to tell more about it yourself. So you introduce your family and all, but I know you as a person who was a pastor, called to be a missionary, came back to do mission in Argentina. Owner of a coffee shop and a person who contends for neighborhood transformation. Those are reasons that I just look up to you. Thank you for the work that you do. But you tell the audience a little bit about what you want them to know about who is Taylor Penrod.
Yes.
Yeah. So as Gary, you said, my name is Taylor Penrod, and I get to wear a lot of hats. I get to wear be a pastor for community development at Christ Connect Church, and then be the executive director of Barefoot Mission, as well as get to oversee the coffee shop. So that is all a lot of fun. I went to college. I got my teaching degree, and my parents, as most people do when they graduate college, were thinking like, okay, here she goes. She's going to go teach first grade.
Get a job.
Exactly. And I came home 2 days after graduation and I said, I'm moving to Jamaica. And they were like, oh, okay.
Our little girl was
right.
going abroad.
And I felt such a call to missions. Little did I know that, my time in Jamaica was absolutely amazing, but little did I know that was going to spur just this thirst and hunger for local missions and what that looks like. But I am a wife to Jimmy Penrod. He is a high school teacher at J.C. Harmon, right in our community. Yeah. And I get to be a mom to a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. So our house is never quiet. It is always chaotic, but it's a blast.
Do you have Jamaican coffee?
We do. We do have one Jamaican blend. Yep. And it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I've been in, the coffee is great for all you coffee snob friends of mine. You should go down to Grounded Soul. So,
we have one right now. It's called the Raspberry Beret, and it's my favorite. It's kind of a Valentine's drink, but we're keeping it on the menu because so many people have loved it. So that's my current favorite.
So I have to ask you guys, do you know who made that statement famous, Raspberry Beret?
I have no idea.
Gary?
I didn't know it was famous.
I didn't either, I'll be honest.
All right, so
tell me about
for our listening audience, I'm still working on making sure that they understand some of the other things in our community. Raspberry Beret is a famous song that Prince made.
All right.
You want me to sing some of it?
Go ahead.
No.
Oh, I
You almost got me.
I love it.
Okay. Yes. So Taylor, what an interesting journey. So that's the high level thing. You went to school. Did you get married before you went to Jamaica?
Nope, after. Went to
Jamaica all on your own.
Yep,
very
all
courageous.
on my own.
If my daughter had told me that, I'd have started praying right there.
I think they did.
So you come back, you get married, and then you do something really, really unusual about choosing a place to live. Can you take us through that?
Yeah. So I actually, once I got married, we moved, back to Overland Park area, and I was working as a youth minister at the church, Christ Connect Church.
Let me interrupt.
Yeah.
For those of you who are not from Kansas City, Overland Park is a very wealthy suburb. Okay, so.
Yep. So we bought our first home there, a small home, might I add, but it was a house, and we bought our house there, and we actually lived right across the street from our church building, because when I thought of doing youth ministry at the time, I thought, well, I want to be a place that we can have the teens over all the time. So if we kind of that incarnational ministry even then. And so we lived across the street. We had the teens over 3 nights a week. It was awesome. And then my husband started working at J.C. Harmon, which is in Argentine, and is was a 25 minute drive from where we were living. And I have to give a lot of credit to him because he got so involved and invested in that school and in that neighborhood that he would come home and we would talk about it. I mean, for a year and a half, we talked about him saying, oh, I just wish we lived there. I wish we could go get tacos with my students. I wish I could see my students. They work at the Walmart on the corner. I wish I could see them there. I just wish I could be a part of that. And honestly, transparently, for me, it was like, no. I mean, it was just a whole different world. It felt it was a community that I actually didn't know a lot about.
Tell our listening audience before you go on what Argentine is like, what the makeup and the demographics is like. Yeah,
so Argentine is a beautiful, small, tight-knit community right in Kansas City, Kansas. And it is so diverse. It's really known to be a melting pot of all different diversities. We have all different populations that live there. What's really cool, if you look at the makeup of the Harmon students, it is just totally across the board, which is really, really neat. There's not one demographic necessarily that rises to the top. It's just this beautiful melting pot of differences and of people that have been there for a long time, really invested in their community. So
I would have guessed it was Hispanic. When I go to Argentina, I see a lot of Spanish and signs and buildings and things like that.
And there definitely is a strong culture, like Hispanic, Spanish, beautiful culture there, but there is quite a bit of everyone else too.
That's cool.
Yeah. So we just talked about this for a long time of what does it look like to move. And in between all of this, I changed jobs from youth ministry to that community outreach, community development component. And I will never forget it. My husband at the time was the head football coach, varsity football coach. And I went to a football game, and of course, the coaches have to stay forever after the game, and I just get to leave.
Right.
And so I went to the game, and it was at Harmon, which is in Argentine. Right. And instead of going straight home, I spent an hour driving around the neighborhood. Just all the streets, everywhere I could find, come to a stop sign and we'd turn right and we'd see what was down that street, and then come to another stop sign and turn left and see where that was. And I went home and got on my phone and looked up Zillow, which is a realting app, and started looking for houses that night. And my husband came home about midnight. It was a late night for him. And I said, I think we should move. I think we should move. And he was like, whoa, because that was just not originally where I was. And I can credit that to the work of the Spirit, just moving my heart and moving us there. And then bought a house 2 months later and spent about a year fixing it up because it needed a lot, and then moved in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talk for a minute about the coffee house and also the how you care for the workers who serve at the coffee house. Yeah.
So we when we moved, our commitment was that we weren't going to start any programming or do anything for at least 1 year. I thought it was really important to be in a community, a new community for us, for a year, just listening to our neighbors and hearing what can we work alongside you with to bring to this community, really work together. And so we had 3 different listening sessions with high school students and neighbors, and over the idea came a place to gather, a place to hang out, a place to meet my neighbor on Saturday morning, a place to have a birthday party that just didn't really exist there. And so that's where the coffee shop idea came from. It's interesting because people are like, oh, do you just love coffee? And I'm like, it's fine. I do love coffee, but that is not why we opened a coffee shop. And that would be your assumption, right? That I was just a coffee lover.
Right.
But really it was the community that told us like, hey, we need a third space, right? That idea of a third place. You have your work, you have your home that you feel safe. We need one more place that we can gather and be. And so that's what Grounded Soul started from and became. And is still really just a community initiative. So we get to job train there with different people from the community that need just some help learning some basic job skills, right? We do have apartments and places around the coffee shop and above the coffee shop that people can live while also job training and do that dually, which has been a real gift.
I love it.
Yeah, that space is fantastic for those who've never been. It's not just coffee and wonderful pastries, which, you know, I can't have too many more of those. But there's a room where you can meet, and there's plenty of places to sit and talk, and so you've got to go. It's just a wonderful place.
Thank you. Yeah, that room where you could meet, that was interesting and was told to us by the community. We put in the back a big glass room that seats a huge table that can seat about 12 to 14. And that is one thing we heard is our teachers need a place to have a meeting. We have Mayor Watson, our mayor, comes in there and has meetings. Our commissioners come in there. The city, the community needed a place to just meet, right? To just sit around, have a cup of coffee and discuss.
You almost make me want to move to Argentina.
Let's do it. Yeah.
What has been something that was unexpected along the way for you?
That's a great question. I think so. I've always been really motivated and encouraged by the Great Commission, right? When Jesus says, "Go and make disciples." And for a long time, I interpreted that as go. Literally, get up from the place you are and go, whether it be go to Jamaica or go, to this certain place and make disciples. And after studying the text and learning more and more, just that being translated as you go.
Right.
It's not just this like big event of going. It's this as you go, as you live your life, as you live your day, as you move, as you work, as you are in rhythm of life, make disciples and teach them about Jesus, right? And that changed everything for me. That is truly a big piece of how we live the way that we do. And so like what has surprised me is just the way that God keeps showing up when you are on mission with him, right? That doesn't mean it's been easy. It doesn't mean it always makes sense to me, and I'll be really honest about that. But this posture of just moving throughout your day, this as you go, and the way God just has shown up over and over has just been incredible.
Yep.
So Taylor, you mentioned that this is an established community. People are invested. They stay there a long time, generationally, I would suppose.
Absolutely.
Did you have any issues or trouble or moving into that? Or were you, as I like to say, were you a vaccine or a virus, when you first moved in?
I hear that. And honestly, that was one of the reasons that we made the strong commitment to not go in strong,
and
right?
Like, here we are.
Exactly. If I did not want to come in with a posture of, we know what you need.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, we know how to fix this. We know how to whatever. And so that was our big commitment of being really good neighbors for at least a year. And so that we did gain that trust with people, and we were able to say like, hey, we're here to be neighbors first. We want to come into your home and eat pupusas and a lot of other food I had never heard of, and learn how to eat with our hands and different things. And we wanted to bring them into our home and, eat burgers and French fries and just like live shared life together before we did anything else. Because Ray, I will say I was very worried about that, of showing up as like, we're here to fix the problem.
Right.
And that's just not a posture we wanted to take. And, we gain a lot of credibility. There's a lot of people that will come into the coffee shop and look at us like, oh, you came here and now you have a coffee shop here. And the second they say, well, where do you live? And I say, oh, we just live up the hill 2 blocks over. Faces change immediately, right? Because it's not like we've just transplanted into to put a coffee shop in, but we live 20 minutes this way. It's like, oh no, we live up the hill. I walked here this morning, and everything changes.
Sure does.
Yeah.
You know, Gary, you probably already know this because I'm always the last to know all the wonderful things about Gary. He's so humble.
Awesome.
But Gary has brought into Unite KC this idea of living on mission, and living to learn and play and eat where you are in your neighborhood. And so what you're doing is what we really want the whole city to do, is like, just look around in your neighborhood, be a part of your neighborhood, learn your community. And then, you know, as you begin to pray for people, begin to fellowship with them, have a meal with them, then you can actually know what you can do to have a true relationship and connection with them. And so you've done that. And so we want everybody to do like Taylor. You heard, be like Mike, be like Taylor. That's what Unite KC is really, really after, because if you're in that neighborhood, it doesn't matter what your neighbor looks like. If they, you know, so you're telling me I could move there and I would just fit right in.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man.
Yeah.
So as a mom, what'd you say, 4 years old and one,
almost 2.
I remember that one because you would have that one with you a lot of times when I went down to the coffee shop. But how will your kids grow up different than, say, you might have grown up different because they're living in this multicultural experience?
Yeah. Well, you know, that's the hope too, right? Like I hope they do grow up differently. What has been really beautiful is I don't know how transparent. I'll just say this. So, you know, we're
very transparent.
Okay, good. Okay.
we're known for maybe
being too transparent, right, Gary?
So recently we were in a restaurant in Johnson County. It was a really nice restaurant. And my son looked at me and he said, "Mom, why is everyone here white?" And he was bothered by that. And that was a really beautiful thing to me, honestly, because for his world, he's the 4-year-old, for his world, everywhere we spend most of our time is just this mixing bowl of beautiful diversity.
Right.
And for him to notice, like, everyone in this place, and it's a great restaurant, but everyone in this place looks the same.
Yeah.
And so my hope is that for both of our kids, they grow up realizing that the beautiful part of God's kingdom, right, the beautiful part of this world is that we all look different and we all bring different things to the table. Right. And that creates unity is what it does, right? It creates unity when we're not having to explain, like, well, we're this way and they're this way, that we actually grow up and do life together, and we have shared experiences, because I think it changes things.
I think that's awesome. Those are exactly the kind of things we talk about here.
Good.
Right. Yeah.
So you weren't going anywhere different than what our listeners are used to.
Great.
Well, since you've already stepped on the gas pedal, I'm gonna take it. So I have had the wonderful opportunity of having relationships, and so has Gary, across a number of different ethnic groups and just cross-cultural relationships. And so I've noticed that there is some reluctance on the part of, and it goes both ways. So if I have a friend, and, you know, I'm not going to tell his name, but I'm going to make sure he watches this episode. But he came and visited me when we were raising our children in the Olathe School District. Yeah. Okay. And I, you know, he was doing really well. I mean, he's very well off. And I said, "Man, you should buy a house. There's a house right around the corner." He goes, "I can't come live in this neighborhood, you know, because there was a lot of white people there." Yeah. But there's also, I have white friends that were like, you know, I would never go live in Argentine or in some of these other. What would you say to white parents to kind of allay their fears about the journey that you've undertaken, and what would you say to them about being fearful about that?
I think that we fear what we don't know. Right? That we fear what feels uncomfortable. Right. We fear often what feels outside of our box because we don't. There's an illusion of control. And the truth is, we all know this, that we're not in control, right? And we can't control most things. But when we stay within what we know and what feels really safe, honestly, there's this illusion of control that we can predict the outcome of things. And what I think actually happens when we release some of that control and we're willing to be just surrounded by things that might not look or seem or feel exactly like us, in reality, just the floodgates open in the most beautiful way. And I will say that there have been times, even with our little kids, we get asked all the time, "Oh, well, now that you've had kids, you're probably going to change. You're going to move or going to change the way that you do things." And have there been those moments of consideration? Yes. But the reality has been that we have seen so much growth in our family, so much support, so much unity, so much togetherness that I cannot imagine trading that. I just can't. Yeah. So what I would say to parents is explore. Right? Explore with your families. Be willing to see different things. Be willing to engage with different humans.
Different humans.
Truly, all from all places, and just see differently.
Yeah. I remember, for those of you who don't know, my parents sent me to Christian school, and we were living in a predominantly black neighborhood. But then, my dad started doing better, and we moved to one, and it was predominantly white. So I was weirded out for a little bit, but and then I go to a school that's predominantly white, right? And so I just remember feeling so out of place. But after I left, after I graduated, I felt so wonderfully blessed that I had friends. I mean, I just thought, this is pretty neat. I got friends from all over and stuff like that. And so I asked my parents years later, I said, were you ever worried about me marrying somebody outside of my race? And, I think I kind of came close once. And and my mom was, they said, we thought about that, and we thought about what the rest of the family would say and all this other stuff. But we figured as long as they love God and they love us, they have to love us a whole lot, that we would be fine with it. And so, either of you want to talk to that end about what your community may feel about something like that?
The question that went through my mind, and it's similar to what you're saying, is from your perspective, kind of being integrated into a diverse community. What would you say to people in the city who don't see it the way that you see it? Yeah. And we're always trying to help reach a hand across a divide. We're continually saying we're divided by so many things, by race and culture and color and political views, and even religion. It can be divisive. Right. And so how do we reach across? What would you say to people who maybe haven't reached that hand yet? They're considering it, but they haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I would say get in relationship with someone.
That's great. Good start.
I think so often, especially in the church culture, it's really easy to go on a mission trip for a week. Right? It's really easy to go serve at a soup kitchen downtown. It's really easy for what you're talking about we program it out. Right. We make it very programmable. So it's well, I've signed up for this and I'm going to go do this thing. And sometimes that opens our eyes a little bit, I think. But I don't think it has the power that getting in relationship with other people does. If we all can get in relationship with one person that thinks different than us, looks different than us, was raised differently than we are, is in a different financial, place in life. If we can get in relationship with one person,
that's powerful.
True relationship, right? Not just a program, but like a true relationship. I don't think that there's, I I don't think that then you need the next steps.
I love that.
Does the fears just kind of vanish?
Right.
Is that true?
Yeah, I do believe. I do believe that, again, like I said, fear is usually caused by just this unknown. And if we can get to know someone for who they are, and we start to see that, like, we're actually a lot more alike, right? That, like, that a lot of times the same things keep us up at night. A lot of times our anxieties feel the same. If we can start to see our commonalities and not just our differences, and then in that honor our differences and be excited about how we are different, man, it just changes things.
I love that.
It really does.
And as you're talking, I'm thinking about the scripture from John.
Yeah.
And I love the way the Message translation talks about Jesus. You know,
Yeah.
we would say the word, in NIV, the word became flesh. You know?
Yeah.
But what the Message version says is he moved into the neighborhood.
Yes.
Wow.
Which is
Yes.
what you did.
Yeah.
But also what Jesus did. He came to be one of us.
Yeah.
And he formed relationship with the people around him.
Absolutely.
You know, for 30 years, people didn't even know he was the Messiah.
Right.
So he did what you talked about. He's learning. He's among us.
Yeah.
He's listening. You know, and then God, of course, revealed his mission.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful
Absolutely.
thing. Start with a relationship.
Yeah.
We've used the illustration here, Taylor, a couple of times that it's a little bit, I imagine a pool that has a graduated, entrance, like
Yes.
where you, at first you're walking on top of the water,
Yes.
and then you might be ankle deep and then knee deep,
Yes.
and you can decide how fast you go.
Yes.
But to me, forming that relationship is like maybe getting ankle deep, because then you can ask questions. Then you
Absolutely.
can be a listener. Then you can
Yes.
test your theory and see if
Yeah.
you're, how close are you to what they actually believe in.
Yeah.
And over time, you're just going deeper into the water. And I've
Absolutely.
noticed my kids, when they were little, they were afraid of the water. At some point, they love the water.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to help people do, is become a friend, have a relationship, start conversations like these conversations, and then just keep going deeper into the water until you're swimming in it and it just feels normal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's okay in the beginning that it might not feel
Right.
normal, right?
Right.
We often, it's like, well, that doesn't feel right, or that feels different. And so
Yeah.
we totally shy away from it.
Right.
And there's power sometimes in just being like, I'm going to be uncomfortable with this.
Right.
This is going to feel different or out of the box. And
Yeah.
guess what? That's okay.
Yes.
And God just does some of his best work in those situations where it
Totally
just
agree.
feels, again, we don't have the control. So we're letting go just a little bit.
What you're talking about with the relationships and being a part of the community, I consider you and Gary part of my larger community.
I hope so.
And I just wanted to make
How
that
close are
announcement
we?
here.
How close are we?
Well,
I
I'm
was
gonna,
gonna say,
I'm
I
about
would
to
hope
tell
here.
you. I'm about to tell you how close we are, so you might have to clean it up again for me, Gary. So, but the one thing that it does for your soul, and I know you guys feel the same way, is because of the journey that we've taken together, I don't feel I feel like I could ask you any question,
awesome.
just
Yeah.
very comfortable of saying, "Hey Taylor, well, what do you think about this, Gary? I heard this today," and not worry, did I offend Gary, or is Gary going to not be my friend anymore, or have I? And for me, that is extremely comforting, because I have a tendency to go too far. It's. But
Are you going to ask her if she likes her eggs runny or?
oh yeah, there's so.
My.
Do you eat your eggs runny?
I do not.
Come here, girl.
They either have to be scrambled or like yolks over hard.
I found. Have you always been that way?
Always been that way. The runniness kind of freaks me out.
So we will talk about cultural differences and runny eggs one episode.
So I put my fork into my runny egg one day, and Ray just had a conniption.
Yeah.
You're killing it. There's stuff running
it
everywhere.
alive?
What are you doing?
It's gonna touch your toes.
Yes.
Hurry.
Oh, that's funny.
But then what Gary discovered is that many people in my community don't eat their eggs that way. We scramble our eggs religiously.
Yeah.
You know, is if you're going to kill the chicken, kill it all.
Yeah,
away.
make sure
So
it
then
is
Ray
all
started
scrambled up.
asking every waiter or waitress,
I did.
how do you do your eggs?
And they confirmed it.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So you see, you probably never thought to ask that out there in our listening audience, but now you know. Okay. See what you learned today? And I
learned something.
want to confess too that a lot of the people, you know, that come on, they're either pastors or they're faith-based initiatives and stuff. And if there were another way that I could guarantee that works when you're trying to do this work that we're doing, Gary, I'd tell you about it. But having the foundation of Christ
Yeah.
is really the only thing that keeps you in the fight for the long haul. So
Well, it's bigger than you are as an individual.
Yeah,
yeah.
You need the divine help along the way.
absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think for me, it keeps me rooted, right? I'm very much a free spirit, hence the like, hey, Dad, I'm moving to Jamaica tomorrow conversation. I'm very much a free spirit. And what I've learned is relationships like this, moving into neighborhoods, doing life with your neighbors wherever you are, is like the long, slow,
Yeah, it is.
hard work. And as a free spirit, I like to like be going, moving, flying away. And I very much believe that I would have been on to the next thing if it wasn't for the rooting and the grounding of the spirit, reminding me that like this work of showing up takes a long time.
Right.
And this work of showing up is just over and over and over. It's, you know, soup when they have a bad day. It's a birthday card. You know, it's just these things over and over that aren't grand things,
Right.
but just take a long time.
You know, we just you and I've talked, and we don't have time, but I know that you've had some horror stories that you could share, and so my appreciation for what you've done is just way over the top, because I know you could have just said, okay, that's it, we're out, we're going back to the suburbs, and so for you staying, that just meant a whole lot, not only just to me, but it's an example of how you can win if you adopt this model and everything.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
you know, I always give Gary the last word, and so I'm going to let Gary ask any, a closing question.
Since
or
you're a
comment.
pastor,
Yeah.
Yeah, there we
There we go.
I want to take you to Jeremiah,
Yeah.
where he talked about, he said, move in,
Yeah.
build homes, plant gardens,
Yes.
raise your family.
Yes.
And he was talking to Israel, who was in exile
Yes.
at the time. And it's these things that lead to shalom.
Yes.
From your experience of what you've actually done, can you just kind of summarize what it's meant to do that, and then speak that word to people who are kind of afraid to do that in our city, understanding that it's going to take that kind of investment to help us get where we're trying to go for the shalom of Kansas City?
Yes, I think that the shalom, the peace of Kansas City really starts in our commitment. And I think that what I mean by that, and kind of like I said, is that missionary work, being neighborly, being present, often feels like a grand gesture. It feels like, oh, I have to open a coffee shop in my community. Right. And I will tell you, I think the coffee shop for us has been a great asset. But what I think has been more than that is knowing our neighbors' names and their birthdays and their kids' birthdays.
Wow.
And harvesting in the community garden all summer long, and being a part of everyday life in the place that we live. And, the big things like opening a coffee shop and some of the other projects we've been a part of have been beautiful and wonderful and awesome. But truly, I think the transformation has come in our everyday lives being shared with the people around us. And I
Well,
think
you had
that
me
is
right
shalom.
at the beginning when you said Jimmy knew where the kids worked.
Yes.
He
Like,
knew
let's
they
go to
worked at
this
Walmart.
restaurant. Or yes, Walmart. Yep.
I've been to that Walmart.
Yeah. Yep. It's the only thing over there. So
Right.
yeah. And so that's what I would say to Kansas City,
Yeah,
right? That's what
thank
I would
you.
say to us as people that live our lives hopefully on mission. That's what I would say to us as we go.
Right. And anybody can do that
the ordinary.
at some level.
Yes,
Yes.
do the ordinary with intention.
Right. Right.
And it changes things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Very
it's
good.
proof once again that all good things happen in coffee shops.
Amen to that.
There you go. All good things. Well, Taylor, thank you again for being a shining example in our city of how to live on mission and how to basically adopt a neighborhood into your heart. And
Yeah.
so we appreciate you being
Thank
here
you.
today.
Yeah.
And with that, Gary, why don't you close us out?
So I just always encourage you at the end of a session like this to imagine a friend or two that needs to hear this story and share this podcast. And you can like, share, subscribe, and you can find these again if you've forgotten on Spotify, Apple, Google Play, YouTube. You go to the unitekc.org website. You'll find all of them there. But let's keep this conversation going.
Well, thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next time on Courageous Conversations. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Courageous Conversations.
We hope you heard something that encourages you to start these conversations in your own life.
Because when we talk, listen, and learn together, we move closer to uniting people, uniting neighborhoods, and uniting KC.
And don't forget, you can find more stories, events, and resources at unitekc.org.
So until next time, go love your neighbors at all costs.